Tony D and Little Jones asleep on the couch, and this is a screenwriter's rant by request for 13 Lives. The movie about the 13 people who got trapped in the cave. It was a soccer team, I think, and their coach. They got trapped in a cave, and then about the amazing rescue that followed. Starring Viggo Mortensen, directed by Ron Howard, I believe. Was he directing it? Or was he producing it? I don't remember. Smash like and subscribe. Thank you for smash liking and subscribing. Check out my books. Links in the description. Comedy Horror in South Jersey. It's what? It's the Pineys. Books 1 through 9 available at Amazon.com. All right, let's get into it. I'll figure it out from this. If he's the director. He's in the credits here. I forget. This is the true story of 13 lives. 12 boys and the coach of a Thai soccer team that explored this cave in Thailand when an unexpected rainstorm trapped them in the chamber inside the mountain. Entombed behind a maze of flooded cave tunnels, they face impossible odds. A team of world-class divers navigate through the miles of dangerous cave networks to discover that finding the boys is only the beginning. And then it's about how they got them out. So it's a lot of star power here. It's a very dramatic thing from Ron Howard. I assume he's the director. Hey, he's a good director for this. And what's the name? Oh God, I can't think of his name. We'll get to it at the end of the credits. Colin, what's his name? Based on the incredible true story. My only thing would be like this kind of just happened. I mean, I remember this news story, and it literally just happened not too long ago. Now, I didn't follow it that closely. So, I mean, it looks like a dramatic movie. It seems a little soon to start doing it, but so a lot of star power here, a lot of big names. Ron Howard's no slouch. I think this is a good movie for him. Colin, what the hell's his last name? Firth? No, it's not Colin Firth. It's the other Colin. I forget his name, but you know who. The Penguin. Here it is. So story by Don McPherson and William Nicholson. Screenplay by William Nicholson. And directed by Ron Howard. So this is a Prime vehicle, PG-13, in select theaters July 29th, Prime Video August 5th. It's not a lot of time, really, to get to theaters. But this, to me, is a theater movie. You know, it's a theater movie because, there's going to be a lot of big, I got to get his name. I'm sorry. Can't think of his damn name. B.com. I know. I should have looked it up ahead of 13 Lives. Here it is. Colin. Is it Firth? I want to say Firth, but I think that's wrong. Farrell. God, I can't think of his name. Joel Edgerton. Viggo Mortensen. Tom Bateman. Basically, that's about all the names I kind of recognize. So Colin and Viggo, definitely the two big names here. And Joel Edgerton, too. I've seen him in a lot. The name didn't come to me at all, but and yeah, as you can see, I struggle with names. So I think this looks good. I mean, this looks very dramatic. There's Colin. Colin's a great actor. I mean, he was so good in Batman. So good in the Batman, I should say. Viggo's great. I'd rather see Viggo in this than in something like Future Crime, whatever the hell, Crimes of the Future or something from David Cronenberg, which just look weird and unnecessary for a guy like Viggo to even be in. Yeah, I mean, this is going to be really good drama, I think. You know, it's a little too close to home for me because it literally feels like it just happened, right? I feel like it just happened a few years ago. What year did that happen? Does it say here in the write-up? It doesn't say the year. It was relatively soon. But I'd rather see Amazon do stuff like this than the Lord of the Rings or some of the other stuff they've done. I mean, this is going to appeal to a lot of people. First off, they know the subject matter. Take notes, screenwriter. When you do something like this, number one, people know the subject matter. Okay, now it is an intense research thing to write this, but you have a built-in audience for it because it's a dramatic rescue. It was international news. It was international news for weeks because it took forever to rescue these kids. You were following it. It was very exciting. I won't spoil the ending if you don't remember it. I don't totally remember what happened, but it was a big deal when it went down. This was like, I think it was within 5 years ago, I want to say. It's definitely less than 10. Um, so, is there anything else here? Nah, that's about it. I mean, so the first act is going to be the kids. Hey, let's go explore caves. Yeah, what could possibly happen? So then they go, they get trapped. Then they establish all the rescue guys, whatever the hell they were doing, and they start getting the calls. Oh my God, these kids are trapped. We need specialized divers, and they call these guys from all over the world, and they all fly to Thailand. And it's like, well, what are we going to do here? I guess Navy SEALs, were they? They weren't American Navy SEALs, were they? Or maybe they were. Or do other countries have Navy SEALs? I don't think they do. Anyhow, they get over there, and then they try to do various things to help the kids. I think they try to drain the water out at some point. And then you could see, there's just tons of... It's so weird, though, isn't it, to recreate this, like, so soon, because it's just like... It's like recreating the news. On the one hand, yes, this movie will probably be used. I mean, this is the kind of movie I used to see in high school, right? Something would happen, and like in my day in high school, they wouldn't make movies this soon. They would wait, at least 20 years probably before they made a movie about a historical event. And I'm not knocking it for that. It just, I watch the news enough. I just like, yeah, that happened. And you do run a risk here because you run the risk of people who read extensively about this watching the movie and going, wait a minute, that's not the order it happened in, because sometimes you have to change the order of certain events, or people know the actual figures. They may have seen all the interviews with the actual people who performed all these rescues, and they may tell it differently. Hollywood may have told it differently. So, it may be now it could be their presentation that's different, but you can't take a lot of dramatic license, is my point, in a news story this soon, because I think part of the audience will have drilled down in it enough to go, wait a minute, that's not the way it happened. I mean, you could take some, you could take a little bit, but... So first act, the kids get trapped. The guy, you introduce the rescue team, and they're being alerted. And then the second act, they actually go to Thailand. Then the second act is I believe they make the dive, and they find the kids alive. Spoilers, but really not really. It was a news story. So they find them all alive, and then the trick is, how do we get them out? So most of the second act is about how they get them out and what happens during that risky rescue effort. Some things go wrong. I'm trying not to give it away. I mean, the trailer gives away some of it. But again, it's a news story, so... Like, am I really giving away anything? Unless you're deeply ignorant of the news, I guess. And then finally the ending where I think they rescued all of them, but I'm not totally sure. Maybe one of them died, but... it definitely was very risky. And the kids were going to run out of air eventually, I assume. You got to imagine, like, what it must have been like to live in a different era. Let's say, I don't know, the Middle Ages. And a bunch of peasant boys went into a cave and then get stuck in there. But, like, they're not dead. They're just trapped. And they can't make the swim out. So they just... stay into the cave until either the water drains out or they die, or both. maybe they get out, maybe they live, maybe they don't. Maybe they have enough food in there to live and just enough oxygen to survive, or maybe not. I don't know. Um, but it is kind of interesting. Yeah, it is kind of interesting to think of it in those terms. To think of it in these terms, well, I can go to Google and find out what happened in real life, so I don't really need to see the movie. But, if you want to know about the ins and outs of the dive and what kind of happened, but again, they're going to take some creative license with it, but it's a deep dive in terms of research, writing the screenplay, and you got to be careful. I would say, don't change too much. If you're going to have some dramatic scene between the characters and, everybody who drilled down and saw interviews with these guys post-rescue saw that, oh, these guys got along great and they didn't hate each other and they were like the best buddies. And that doesn't happen in the movie. It's like, wait a minute, it won't jibe. You know what I'm saying? So it's very risky in some respects, but you got a lot of star power here. You got a good story. Maybe I would have waited another 5 years, but Hollywood doesn't like to wait. You got to jump on these things, because if they didn't buy the story, somebody else would. And you got to wonder what it's based on, right? Did anybody write a book? I guess it's long enough that somebody wrote a book. Sometimes these kinds of movies are based on an article or a series of articles, because it has all the research, you hope. I would say someone like the New York Times, but these days New York Times isn't all that reliable. So somebody somewhere, maybe some of the Thai reporters got it right. But it's an interesting subject matter. Would I watch the movie? I mean, I watch it on Prime because I have Prime and it would be free to me. I wouldn't go to the theater. It would be a theater movie, to see the diving and the cave and whatnot. But from a story standpoint, I kind of not all that interested in it. I kind of know what happened, and if I really want to know what happened, I'll Google it and read it, and I go, oh, okay, that's what happened. So from that standpoint, I don't need to see the movie. I can find out what happened. But from the standpoint of, is it a good story? I'm okay with dramas like this. I'm not in desperate need to see it, because the part of the drama will be mostly, that's the part that's probably going to be made up. So, some of it might be real, but I think some of it will be melodrama to make it a little more dramatic, because that tends to be what Hollywood does. So anyhow, 13 Lives. I think it'll be a good movie, though, if you like these kinds of things. I would avoid reading about the news story first, because otherwise it's going to give away everything. However, if you watch it and you really like it, and then you go back and read about it and says, oh, wait a minute, they changed this, this, and this. Like, I was kind of annoyed at Revenant, the Leonardo DiCaprio movie, because I read the real story. And I think the real story is better than what they did in that movie and what they did in the previous movie with it. I mean, I think they missed an opportunity. I really think they missed a huge opportunity in Revenant. That could have been an amazing moment in film forever. And God, did they miss it. But they didn't follow the real story. In that case, it was better. Now, maybe the drama here, injecting a little drama, makes the story better. Sometimes that's true. So, it's a tough call. But I think it will be a good movie. You got a great cast. You got a solid director. You got an exotic location, a dramatic event. It's got all the right elements. I think Ron Howard will do a decent job. I think the cast will knock it out of the park. Probably might even get some Oscar buzz on this one. Yeah. Probably not, though. I'll say maybe a little. It depends. I mean, this is coming early in Oscar season. Really, the Oscar season stuff tends to hit late in the year, right before the Oscars, just to qualify for the Oscars, so everybody remembers it. But it'll probably be pretty good. That's it for me. Tony D, Little Jones on the couch. Check us out on Odysee, Bitchute, and Rumble for our more base takes. Today is a news blast, And I don't know what I'm going to do for the second video because I kind of did some Hollywoke hot take in the live stream. I'm just going to do a short video for the other one. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I don't know. I'll figure it out. But flip over there and see it. Anyhow, thank you, and we'll see you in the next one.